On any guide that involves us going into low elo to demonstrate how concepts apply to the average viewer, we are always hit with one criticism. Of course you win. You're a challenger playing in low elo. You're just better than everyone, so of course it's going to be OP. These sorts of comments are almost always at the top of the list, so it felt like it was time to address them. What exactly about challenger players makes them able to carry low elo games? Is it that they're just born better, they have superior mechanics, faster reaction time? What? Literally none of this. My reaction time is exactly average. My mechanics leave a lot to be desired the majority of the time, and having arthritis in my mid-20s doesn't exactly speak to having superior genetics. So what does that leave us with? Making good decisions and making them consistently is the only key to winning more. Players don't make good decisions because they're challenger. They get challenger because they make good decisions. Anyone can improve their decision making, so it's incredibly unfair to just write off a strategy or a good play just because a good player made it when you could have done the exact same thing too. But I don't want you to take my word for it, because that definitely wouldn't dispel any of the complaints. Instead, I'm going to show you a game. This game is almost indistinguishable from challenger gameplay, and in fact, I easily could have just said that it was my own play and no one would have ever known. However, this isn't a challenger gameplay, but a platinum player without any outside assistance or guidance in the game at all, absolutely destroying Diamond Elo and playing just as well as I would have. How did he do it exactly? And how can you do the exact same thing? Let's find out. Over the course of the last year and a half, I've been privately coaching this subscriber about once a week. If you've watched our guides for a while, you may recognize him from some other videos like the ones where he got to tell me how to play the game to prove that challenger mechanics don't carry. And I've used plenty of his gameplay before for examples on what not to do. What I'm getting at is that our subscriber Yabbles is not some prodigy that had one coaching session and immediately hit challenger. He spent hours and hours of hard work reviewing, playing with intent, and grinding slowly to improve mistakes that we identified over time. And he has had his fair share of ints to go along with the journey. Some of them even greenlit by yours truly. I would be very surprised if he is. If you die here, then my bad. Oh my god, oh god! Oh no, he just outplayed the shit out of you. However, the things he's learned from these moments and improved on are now what let him play like a challenger. And by the way, Yabbles is just one of many examples proving that our platform at Skillcapped.com actually works. It's why we're the only service that's backed by a rank improvement guarantee. If you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using Skillcapped, then you get your money back. Think about it. We couldn't offer this unless our service actually worked. So what are you waiting for? Get the rank you've always wanted and click the link in the description below. Alright, now let's get back into our game with Yabbles. In true challenger fashion, this game doesn't start out with any super interesting early ganks or cheese strats. It's just a straightforward full clear into bottom crab. But in doing so, there are 2 very important moments that I want to point out, and issues that he's fixed in this game that he used to struggle heavily with. The first was identifying that a fight mid was happening and moving his camera. He then made a decision to continue doing crab and then input his click towards mid. Why is this important? Well, let me show you some parts of his past coaching sessions. Yabbles used to struggle a lot with looking at lanes, and also deciding when to hover them. He would either overcorrect and run to lanes when he didn't need to, or farm when he needs to be hovering them and let his laners die. This clip is from a live coaching session that we did, and you can listen to my prediction about the enemy jungler here. I mean, I don't know what she's doing. She's gonna gank mid here in a sec. That's like her only play. She can't do like anything else.
Well, you are 100% right.
Even with very clear knowledge that Quinn would gank mid, he still chose to do wolves, and then started to stop doing them before I interrupted and told him to just keep farming. This sort of decision making made him not only a much less effective player in counter ganking and predicting the enemy jungler, but he would often waste a lot of time ditching camps that he should just finish. Now, if we look back at his recent game, we can see that he not only looks at the lane and recognizes that the fight is happening, but does the very important thing of identifying that his teammate is winning and that he isn't needed. So he can continue farming to save time, and then he clicks towards mid at the very end before the enemy jungler even shows. Of course, he knows that the enemy jungler's only play is to gank mid here, so he's already well on his way to mid lane, pinging that he's going to come, and he's able to allow Zed to safely crash the wave, and gives him the thumbs up as he leaves. He starts his recall, but he has very good awareness to look mid, and in seeing this can immediately cancel it to move and counter gank. He comes in with a flash buffer W to barely save his mid laner and secure the kill. Look at Zed's HP. Any later and his mid laner would have just ran it down. So already, this is a massive improvement, and some of you might be thinking that it's probably just a fluke and he got lucky. But we could look ahead in the same game just a minute later and see another situation that he's improved on massively. He moves his camera to mid, and again will identify that he likely needs to help Zed escape here. In the past, he would often fail to recognize these sort of escort situations where he needs to enable a teammate to leave a play. Even with all of the pings, unfortunately Zed still ints, and now he's left in the 1v1 alone after missing Q. This sort of situation is something that he has also struggled with before. Let's look at a past coaching session once again, and you can see not only his lack of awareness about bot lane that he's since fixed, but also his normal reaction to these kinds of panicked fight situations. Go bottom, go bottom, go bottom. Yeah, we're on the Rosie.
Not reacting.
Yeah. Use all your potions here.
Oh.
Potions, potions, potions,
Wait,
potions,
I'm scared of
potions.
him.
No, it's fine, it's fine.
Bullshit. Did you want me to go in on that?
You probably could have gone in because Triss was coming, and the bot lane's nowhere close to rotate. He had backup of both Seraphine and Tristana in this instance, and was super scared of fighting while I was significantly more calm about it. This is something that has happened over the course of a lot of games, and we can see other situations where his natural inclination is to run, before I tell him that he can actually just fight his way out. Slight panic warning.
Stay away
Just
from
red,
the walls,
yeah,
please.
stay away from the wall. Walk away. Just auto her to death, auto her to death, auto her to death. She's trolling. Your champion's so much better in this spot. Just right click her. We had a conversation about this afterwards when he was telling me that he actually considered flashing away from Kiana there.
You considered flashing when you just need to right click her to death?
I just clicked here and done nothing.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it's hilarious. Now, with this sort of situation that he would definitely have freaked out in before, watch what he does. He uses the bush vision to bait Diana into melee range before just leading with W and fighting her to death. He waits out the blast cone and ward hops to expertly finish off this kill. But that's not the most impressive part. It's honestly this right click right here. Another area that we had to work on was staying calm in fights and not tunneling to avoid missing important details. In this fight, he gets extremely focused on Ivern and completely misses the low HP vulnerable Caitlyn that he could pivot to going on even after missing the kill. Also missing a potential kill and knock up on Nami as well.
Oh no.
Kill Nami? Don't tunnel, don't tunnel, don't tunnel. You had EQ on that. You had EQ on this, you tunneled so hard. You had kills on both of these guys.
EQ on Nami?
Yeah, look at Caitlyn, she's just dead. That was after the W, by the way. Like, that, yeah, do you see, that could have happened the entire time. She just like kept playing up, but you like missed the kill on Ivern, then you immediately cut Caitlyn off. You just got like tunneled because you missed the kill on Ivern. In almost every fight, he would miss critical information that would sometimes cost him kills or make him die in the process, like here. Watch as Echo comes down to join the fight, and you can tell that he just simply didn't know he was there, as you can hear him exclaim seconds later. Echo's coming. You leave.
I just killed myself.
Now he's a changed man. After this fight, you can tell he was tracking all members of the enemy team because he clicks back towards mid lane, not straight towards the respawning bot crab that most people would probably be baited by. This means that he's already well on his way to escape towards mid, dodging the respawning Yone and paying attention to the enemy bot lane as to avoid walking into them. Just overall, way better awareness in these fights and avoids a very preventable death while securing a kill he would have never gotten in the past. Afterwards, he attempts to invade on the enemy Diana, but unfortunately misses the smite fight and has to retreat with his tail between his legs. However, he's now much more aware of his Seraphine and actively tries to help her escape once securing his own safety. He returns to the fight after healing up a bit and makes it in time for a really beautiful sequence of events. This fight is simply amazing. Just watching it, you might not realize how different this is played than what he would have done before working through his mistakes, and it looks good for sure, but knowing how he would have done this before makes a huge difference. Let's look at the past again and see how much progress he's made. His natural instinct has always been to run in fights when he thinks he'll lose them. Oh, I think you could have killed him if you held it. You might still be able to kill him, just keep fighting. You did not need a flash there. Just go in, go in, go in, go in, go in.
Oh, I'm...
You kill, you have Conquer stacked up, just go.
Yeah.
If he had held his Q here, not flashed out, and just kept autoing Ivern to maintain Conqueror stacks and use his red buff, he might have been able to kill and live. Azir was level 1, and Ivern at level 2 is barely a threat at all. His odds are definitely better than running into the Kiana, which we obviously also had to work on. This issue of not using his healing and conquer to try and live was very persistent. He would constantly get a lot of stacks built up and then panic and try to leave without doing any damage in return, thus not healing at all. Look at his conqueror stacks falling off here, and now watch the rest of this clip to imagine how he could have potentially lived with just a sliver more of HP. Just hit, you need to auto here.
W.
You probably should have been fighting that whole time because you just get conquer, right? He's just hitting you for free because you just stack conquer and kind of, yeah. I think we
Get a little bit of healing back.
So, seeing this fight where he doesn't panic, stays in even at low health, and through exhaust, clicks forward and constantly deals damage to heal is such a game changer from how it used to be. It's truly a massive improvement. We'll look forward ahead to the next fight and see just how consistent he was in this game with more improvements. He heads to top lane to try and gank the Camille, and take my word for this, he would have taken this queue even just 6 months ago. Let's dive back into the past again to see how he used to play scenarios like this. Yabbles would get extremely hungry for kills and be willing to throw his life away, engaging extremely early and not really considering his backup or what would happen after the fight. Listen to what I say here. They have a zillion R, be careful, don't commit, commit.
I flash away.
I was pretty aware of how this would go before he even did it. If he was just waiting for Caston to get here before engaging, there was maybe some chance of it working out. But in general, you probably just don't need to do anything here. So we identified that he needed to work on playing fights slower, waiting for his teammates, and not diving too far ahead of his follow-up. So if we look at his power of will to not go in here, even if his body is telling him yes, we can see how much of a difference it makes in this fight. Not only does he refrain from just going in and dying, but he plays the following fight much better, weaving in and out with W and stalling for his ult to come up while entertaining his opponents. You can see that the second it's available, he turns and immediately downs both enemies after baiting them into this engagement. Later on in this same game, you'll see the same self-control that he worked on stop him from inting into the enemy bot lane. He finds a good Q onto Diana and clearly wins the 1v1, but is very respectful of the enemy bot lane and waits patiently for Zed before even looking for anything. A few months ago, he would have just inted here, but he curbed the Lee syndrome just enough to stop it. There's so much more to this game, but I honestly can't even begin to state how proud I was when watching this game back in our replay review. A reminder that this match was not played with my help at all. It was done completely on his own, and it's pretty clear to see that this gameplay and the drastic improvements that he's made prove that the things we make in guides and ideas that we point out aren't just OP because a challenger player is doing them. If you take the time to implement things and have the mindset to improve, then you can look like a challenger player too. It's not going to happen overnight, as it certainly didn't with Yabbles, but his overall level of gameplay now is way higher than when he first started watching guides and getting coaching. And I think from watching the before and after footage, you'd have a hard time arguing otherwise. So remember, when you might see a comment like this, or start to think that it's maybe even true, just remember Yabbles, who wasn't a challenger player playing in low elo, but instead was someone who worked really hard to improve and didn't give up even though the process was slow. Then you'll be able to have a 1 in a million 1v9 game just like he did, and play like a challenger in your own elo. Alright, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about Skillcapped. We offer a 5-division rank up guarantee and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week with over 2,000 guides curated into over 270 courses. No one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into elo hell over 1,100 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all your questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted. Link in the description below. Thanks to Yabbles for allowing me to show all this footage publicly so that you all could see his journey too. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.